The Book of Boba Fett, Episode 3. We are in a weird time where Star Wars is kind of being hated on by a lot of people, but for some reason, the criticism for Boba Fett is so unjust. I don't understand why people are disliking this, because Boba Fett's an actual character now. Say it every time. Say it again. Boba Fett sucks. He has always sucked in the canon before this show. We're making him an actual character. And this episode was the best one yet because, man, did it do a lot. First off, it seemingly ends the flashback sequences where Boba Fett is with the Tuskens and we see like the colonizers taking over the land from the native people. Well, he's riding his big bantha into town. He's going to talk to the Pikes like, hey, we had a deal. Why aren't you like keeping up your end of our deal? Like we had a negotiation. Why aren't you paying my people? And they're like, well, we're already paying protection from this clan, and we feel like it's counterintuitive to pay twice for something we're already getting from one person. So our deal's kind of off, and that makes Boba Fett mad, but he heads back to his village, and he goes there, and he sees that the place is ransacked, and they're dead. The Tuskens are dead. And now we don't see like the three central figures of the Tuskens that we know, like the commanding captain, the badass one with like the dreadlock hat thing, and the teenage girl. We don't see those Tuskens, so there's a chance they have survived and escaped somewhere, but that like compound in that village that he was in is essentially dead at this point. And this is like, okay, I have to come into Maz Espa and fix things up, because if these people keep dying, that's going to be on me. Now, we also get like an interesting cameo when we are seeing him head into Maz Espa on the Bantha for the first time. In the background, we see Amy Sedaris' character from The Mandalorian with her little droids walking up to a ship potentially, which makes me think that this flashback is happening the same time as one of the seasons of The Mandalorian, which works. I think like just that background fodder, it completely works and it's completely fine. It's going to make a lot of people happy with the fact that it exists. It's just really cool. So I personally don't think that the Tuskens that we know and can recognize are gone. If they are gone and I miss them in the fire, then that sucks. What an unjust thing to do to those characters. And I understand the necessity to kill them if that's the case, but come on. A little Tusken girl running around just like as Boba's sidekick, she's got to come back. Maybe at some point she will. But then we get to the present day and we see that Boba needs to like rebuild his armies and get things going again. He has somebody come to visit him. He's like, yo, these hooligans with cyborg attachments are messing up my water supply. They're be little rapscallions. I need you to deal with them, and if you do, I will double the water supply that I'm giving you. So Boba Fett and his Gamorreans and Shenik go to figure out Fennec. Yeah, it's Fennec Shand. I always forget her name. Look, I like Ming-Na Wen, and I think she's good in this. The character has done nothing except to be a side piece to the actual story, so I'm sorry. That's all she's done. I just forget her name at times. So Fennec shows up and they're just all there, and the kids are just like, yo, what do you want, old man? Like, you think you're a tough mob boss? Like, we literally just took water. And he's like, okay, obviously this guy's not paying well, and you guys want to work? Well, I'll hire you. The guy who wants the water is like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why are you not harassing these kids? He's like, they work for me now. How much money do they owe you? A couple credits. Like, well, here's this is what I'm giving you for the credits, and I'm taking the kids with me. So now Boba Fett has the Gamorreans, he's got Fennec, and he's got the protocol droid voiced by Matt Berry, and now he also has just a nice little army of little rapscallion teenagers with cybernetic attachments. They all got colorful scooters. It looks really cool. And their leader, Sophie Thatcher, is also in a show that I'm enjoying right now, Yellow Jackets. She is like the leader of this little clique, and it's awesome. Like, I think there is a fine line in Star Wars where it's like humans with robot attachments could be weird, but I think they're doing an okay job of it because, yeah, I get it. They're teenagers. They want to look cool and tough, so they're going to, street punks, arms and eyes and shit. I get that, and I think that works pretty well, so I can accept that stuff. And I just love their colorful little scooters because it leads into a fun scene later on. We get another nice moment here where you see he's in the Bacta tank again. We always have to have the Bacta tank stuff leading to the Lawrence of Arabia flashbacks. It looks fantastic. But as he's in the Bacta tank, Gersantin shows up and just rips him out. And this is where we see the Boba Fett versus Black Gersantin fight that we've been waiting for pretty much since they showed him in the last episode. And it is badass. Once again, we get another scene where Tamura Morrison is pretty much wearing nothing. This time he's just in like some nice little shorts. just a big boy getting tossed around like a badass just trying to attack this big Wookiee. It is sick. This is kind of like what I essentially want to do if I made Star Wars. It's like, okay, here's a species that you know. The Gamorreans, the Wookiees, humans, and Boba Fett. What if they just all fought each other in a big pit and it was just badass? Because it's badass. You just see everyone is struggling to take down Graffiti because he's so big, and Santi's just kicking their ass and whipping them around, and big bulky Tamura Morrison can't catch a break here. He's just getting his ass kicked. The Gamorreans try to fight him. They eventually get the slip on him because Fennec is able to send him down into the Rancor pit where he gets trapped, and it's really badass. It was just really cool. I thought for a minute they were going to keep him locked in there for a bit, but eventually we get to the scene where he does manage to get out because of things that are happening there. I thought it was awesome. And it was just a great fight scene, and it looked badass, and I'm just so glad it's Graffiti in here. I feel like we're going to see other bounty hunters show up. We've been teasing the Trandoshans for a long time. We have been talking about the Trandoshans. I have to imagine they're going to call Boskin because he's got history with Boba Fett. We divided the world. It seems like Bib divided like Espa into like 3 categories. The working class citizens, the Trandoshans have this section, and then another party, I think it was the Pikes maybe, have this one. I have to imagine Boskin's going to show up at some point. Dengar's got to show up. Forlam, Zuckuss, one of those guys. Somebody from that quartet has to show up because what else are we doing if they're not here? What's the point? Why else would we do it? One of them has to show up. So that'd be badass. But we do see that the Hutts return, and they're like, we're just going to get off world because I guess this entire like system, this planet, like this crime syndicate was promised to another person. I'm assuming it's going to be the Pikes because they show up at the end of this episode. So we're going to leave, but before we leave, we do have a gift for you. And we see none other than Robert Rodriguez's favorite, Danny Trejo, just riding in on a big old, just whatever platform ship thing with a Rancor. And that's awesome. Now, I'm almost certain that the guys at HasLabs of Hasbro have to be devastated that the Rancor didn't get fully funded because they are literally reintroducing the Rancor into the Star Wars mythos, literally back on Tatooine, literally back in the Rancor pit. That sucks that they didn't get backed. I didn't back it. Where the hell am I going to put a Rancor? But I just think it's really cool, and it leads to this fantastic scene that I have no doubt is going to make a lot of people mad, where we see that Boba Fett is just talking to the Rancor, treating it like it is a creature to be respected and loved, and he's just like petting it and scratching it, and you see Trejo's just like, yeah, it's wearing these like blinders on because the first person it sees it bonds with for life. So if this is a gift to you, let's have it bond with you. And he's like, well, I want to learn to ride this thing and treat it with respect. It's not going to be a creature that is for hunting. It's not going to be a creature that is just like hunted or for battle. So I want to treat it like it's a horse, like it's a big old bull. I'm just riding down through town. I want to treat the Rancor with respect. So that is obviously Chekhov's Rancor. And if we do not see that at some point where we see Boba Fett riding the Rancor, maybe against whatever the villain, maybe every other like crime syndicate is going to be working against Boba Fett, and we're going to see him have to fight them all. And he's going to have like the Rancor, his army of like teenage cyborgs, Fennec, the Gamorreans, and Danny Trejo, and maybe Black Graffiti, because part of the deal was with the Hutts, he'd give Graffiti back. Maybe Santi's going to come back and just work with Boba. You do see the comic book chemistry there a little bit. They don't like explicitly say anything. You just see Boba Fett's like, take it from someone who was a bounty hunter, get out of the system because it sucks here and I'm going to make it better. Again, it's doing that great thing where Boba Fett's trying to rule with respect as opposed to being like a brute force like Jabba or Bib. And I think that's really cool. And that all leads to this fantastic scene, which is so slow and funny that I just adore it at every turn. They want to go talk to the mayor. The mayor locks the doors. His weird little guy there, his Twi'lek guy that's supposed to help everybody, just gets in his car and runs away. We get a nice chase scene through Maz Espa. It is so slow and so dumb that it is perfectly Star Wars. It just feels so campy and perfect. So just the kids on their little scooters chasing after the Twi'lek mayor's guy with just his stupid car. And there's just so many like just gags where we see a 3PO unit trying to walk through. We see a small droid trying to walk through. One of them blasts through a Ralph McQuarrie painting. And I'm like, that is just hilarious. They get knocked into a fruit stand, Back to the Future style. It is just so silly. And I think it works perfectly. And this is where we see that the mayor was meeting with the Pikes, which makes me think they are going to be our big bad. Like maybe the leader of the Pikes that we saw Boba talking with at the beginning of the episode, who said, sorry, we're not going to pay you or your Tuskens because you're not real people. You're just, tribal freaks. Maybe they're going to be the bad guys. And I think that'd be something really cool to see, because that's probably the case here. This episode is weird, but it is the perfect type of weird where the pacing works fine. The slow, methodical race is really cool, and I just think this is how you do it. This is exactly what a Boba Fett show kind of needed, because it's paying respect to what came before the character. He's getting flashbacks to Kamino in every episode, and it's just really fun. It's just a really fun show that's taking itself seriously while still being like, nah, here's some kids on literally multicolored scooters just running through the streets, knocking shit over and being crazy. That's really cool. Here's a Gamoran and Wookiee fighting. Here are some Hutts giving you a Rancor with Danny Trejo. Shit's awesome. This stuff is really cool, and I think this show has done a fantastic job of capturing that Star Wars magic and a fantastic job of making Boba Fett an actual character. So much about this has worked. So much about this is going to continue to work, and I cannot wait to see what's coming next for the Book of Boba Fett, because I had no expectations for this show. I have a lot now. Big old Rancor walking down the street beating up Trandoshans. I have no doubt we're getting there. Robert Rodriguez directed this one. This is great. I cannot wait to see what is coming next from this show. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I will catch you guys in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.